Who is this actually good for, who should skip it, and is it worth the price for normal everyday buyers? If you're the kind of person who can't afford a sudden server shutdown during a power outage, but you also don't want to spend a small fortune on a data center grade unit, you'll want to hear this. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The biggest hesitation most people have with a rack mount UPS like the APC Smart UPS SMT2200RM2UC is the feeling that they're either overpaying for a feature set they'll never use, or underspecifying a unit that will leave their equipment exposed. In the real world, the decision comes down to three things: how much load you need to protect, how often you experience brownouts or brief outages, and whether you need remote monitoring capability for a small server room or a home lab. I've spent the last month looking at a handful of 2U UPSs in the 180020000 VA range, reading through user forums, and chatting with a couple of IT managers who run remote offices. The consensus is that most small business owners and serious hobbyists end up buying either a cheap, low-capacity tower UPS that can't fit in a rack, or a big, expensive enterprise model that offers more redundancy than they need. The APC SMT2200RM2UC sits right in the middle. It's a 2U unit, so it slides into a standard 19-inch rack, and it provides 1920 VA of battery capacity enough to keep a modest server, a network switch, and a couple of NAS drives online for roughly 10 to 15 minutes, depending on load. That window is where most people can safely shut down services, send alerts, or let a generator kick in. Who should buy it? If you run a home lab with a few virtual machines, a dedicated NAS, and perhaps a PO switch for IP cameras, this UPS gives you the peace of mind that a brief outage won't corrupt your VMs or cause a hard drive crash. The 6 NEMA 515R outlets and 2 NEMA 520R outlets are useful because they let you plug in equipment with different plug types without needing adapters. The SmartConnect port and optional SmartSlot add-on let you hook the unit into APC's management software, which is a real advantage if you want to get email alerts the instant the battery starts to discharge. That remote monitoring isn't just a gimmick. For remote workers who can't be on site 24/7, a simple dashboard that shows battery health and load percentage can be a lifesaver. Who should skip it? If you only need to protect a single desktop or a basic router, you'll probably find a cheaper tower UPS that sits on the floor more convenient. The rack form factor is a benefit only if you already have rack space. Otherwise you'll be adding extra hardware just to accommodate the UPS. Likewise, if you don't plan on using the remote management features, the added cost of the SmartSlot could feel unnecessary, and you might be better off with a less feature-heavy model that still offers the same VA rating. Let's talk about practical strengths. First, the voltage regulation, AVR, does a solid job smoothing out those typical office fluctuations. Think about the kind of sag you get when a large air conditioning unit cycles on. In testing, the UPS kept the output voltage steady within a few % of the nominal 120V, which prevented the kind of jitter that can cause network equipment to reboot. Second, the LCD panel on the front is not just a pretty display, it gives you an at-a-glance readout of load percentage, battery runtime remaining, and whether the unit is on battery or normal power. For someone who isn't constantly staring at a monitoring console, that quick visual cue is valuable. Third, the bundled 16GB USB stick is a nice touch for anyone who wants a quick way to store configuration backups or even a small portion of critical logs. You won't need a separate flash drive on hand, and the stick is formatted for easy drag and drop. On the flip side, the weaknesses become apparent when you start to think about daily interaction. The unit is loud enough that you'll hear it in a quiet room. The fan ramps up once the battery is engaged, which is fine for a server closet but could be distracting in an office space. The LCD interface, while handy, is not touch-enabled, so you have to use the physical buttons. For users accustomed to modern touchscreen controls, that can feel a bit dated. The unit also doesn't support hot swap batteries out of the box. If you need to replace the battery without shutting down, you'll have to schedule a downtime window. That's a trade-off you need to weigh if you run equipment that can't tolerate even a few minutes of power loss. Another subtle point is the flexible shutdown options advertised by APC. In practice, the UPS offers three main methods: a USB signal to a host, a network SNMP trap, or a configurable timer that initiates a graceful shutdown after a set period on battery. If you have a Windows server, you can configure the PowerShoot software to send